Good morning, good morning. Let's play some music. Let me get everything together. I need to find my magic cat ring, and as soon as I do, I'll be with you. Happy Caturday to everybody. Found it. Good morning, guys. Where is this volume? Let's put this volume down a little bit. Shuffle the stuff. Oh my gosh, Chris. Thank you. The first thing in the morning. Hey. I decided to give you my pandemic face over there. My doggo mask face. Alright, guys. Hi, Kelsey. You had your surgery. Oh, crappy. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that like you're in bed. I was just writing Chris this. I fell, and Sally knows it. February 28th, and it was a black eye. So it turns out that I torn my meniscus, so that's why this is so freaking painful. So when I'm sitting, kind of like the knees bent, and that kind of like sometimes creates discomfort. It's actually much better than it was. A friend of mine gave me some homeopathic cream, which was amazing. So anyways, I finally got this deck. It took about a month to deliver, and with 3 different tries, because it had lots of printing issues. Lots. Like, I mean, they would come with 2 different sizes, cards mixed, or they have been on the angle. So poor woman with spectacular artwork. It was just amazing. And I kept returning these cards to Amazon, and I'm thinking, this poor girl. Like, you will see, the cards are absolutely stunning. I mean, I can go, like, it's one of the best decks. I was very excited about vice versa, but in the end, I ended up not being excited. This is very modernized with a new take, and I really like that actually it's really writing, not a handwriting script. Some really look at the King of Wands. I love Ace of Swords. Oh, there it is. I love Ace of Swords in this deck. It's so freaking amazing. So, we need some healing, guys. We had amazing spring in Toronto last week. It was short sleeves Toronto, walking around. Thank you, Lynn. And kind of like now, like I think Lynn needs Kelsey needs way more energy than I do. I'm still hopping around, but you know, it's kind of like not as bad when you have the spring outside. So when you have torn meniscus, remember this: cold is not your friend, because all the liquid that went into the knee is reactive to the outside temperature. So the moment when I figured it out, it was much better. So where is Barbie? Is Barbie here? I thought she did say hi. Yes, she did. And of course, I cannot make her a moderator. Last week, I finally managed to contact somebody in YouTube, and I sent them a whole bunch of screenshots and Barb's frustration, and Barb said I cannot post anything, and this is kind of like really, really weird. But you know, they still didn't get back to me, which is kind of like very much Google's middle finger to say, hey, we don't care about you, as usual. So let's go back in here. Healing vibes to everybody. Everybody needs something, and it was just like freaking amazing to experience this very, very early spring in Toronto. That gave me some extra charge, right? So yay, Kylie, I think you're going to really like it. So we are going to start, of course, with the birthday girls and boys, which is still Pisces at the stage. Good morning, Jennifer. So let's do that. So Pisces, let me put a timestamp. So I guess I will be posting this timestamps because and I'm going to really miss Barbie's beautiful icons until they fix it. Because Barbie said, can somebody else do it, right? Can somebody else, like, she's gonna do it. So I don't know, maybe somebody else wants to take it on. And she does this amazing stuff, but I still love Barbie kind of like being here and organizing me and reminding me of the stuff. So hopefully she and I will sit on the phone and try to figure this all out. So let's go. Oh my gosh, I'm not hot at all, but thank you. It sounds good. Today I was on the phone in the morning with a guy. I want to buy a phone, and he goes, you sound very, very, very young. I said, oh, well, thank you, but I'm not. Kind of a thing. So Pisces. Aw. Opening laptop. Chris, you have the leg issues. What is it? Like, are we collectively having an issue moving forward? So, Pisces, what is this? Oh, I was just wanting to see if I took a deck, if I shuffled it. So it was 8 of Swords reversed, which is good. So let's see rendition in this deck. Is this a mirror? It's not the mirror. There are like 2 different women, and looks like one is invoking. It's almost like a shamanic ritual that I kind of like, Chris, stop it. Just stop it. Okay. So it's almost like a shamanic ritual here that I see. Like, she's invoking. This is possibly a big drum. She's going in a trance, and she's seeing herself being all tied, and it's almost like, but look at that. It's the another woman that she has big hopes. This kind of like her alter ego that kind of like it's really working. Yes, that is me, guys. That is me. I took it a few mornings ago and I went to walk tiger, so I figured it's very appropriate for pandemic, except I have a dogo mask instead of keto mask. So here, and I figured, like, I mean, it's probably would be better for you if you see my picture, that you don't just see hands. So tell me if it's just taking the screen off. I can put it on the other side and go with that. So let's do this. So this card generally talks about feeling some kind of like resistance and kind of like doing something that, oh my gosh, everybody's like commenting. You guys not listening, Pisces. So 8 of Swords is about restrictions. Sometimes it can talk. So this is kind of like a message to all of you who are doing hanky-panky in a third party, that you are the one excluded. When this comes reversed, as it did in your case, it really talks about you are getting it. You're finally getting it, that you're not feeling it right, and like you're like touchy-feely person. You are kind of experiencing things kind of like in a very intuitive way, because you're Pisces, and it almost looks like that your intuition misled you in this way, and you're fully realizing that. So let's do it. Yeah, I actually cut my hair short, so it's only shoulder length, and I got this kind of like reddish little highlights on it, just to kind of like shake it up. So Pisces, actually let's do this. You have King of Swords, Oh, you have King of Cups, that will be you. And you have Ten of Pentacles. And again, it could be, again, there is a choice. It could be you guys who is kind of like sitting on two different kind of like seats. Kind of like, if you wish, maybe you have these two options. They're two very different options. It also could mean that this is you. Check these cards. Aren't they beautiful? I mean, let's come to the 21st century kind of a thing. Even though they're very kind of like in and spiritual, we can like totally feel it. The guy with the bun, haha. And it's really interesting here how kind of like he reads you the peak over here with the sword, and there's this wisdom, and he's on the top of the summit. He's like looking down. He kind of like gets it. And maybe kind of, meanwhile, look at like this one is like really intellectually observing everything, while this one is just like pulling everything in, right? Look at him. This is you, Pisces. So you might be coming out in the center, and look at this, really Kabbalah principles that we have. Everything is connecting, all the dots are connecting, and look at that, kind of like a bounty, like in any shape or form, right? So Pisces, what this tells me, it's either that there could be like, I mean, two avenues that you can pursue. And again, somebody could be married, or that you're really focused on your own home life, on your own safety, or people being really good for you. I mean, these two guys come across in a completely different way. And it really depends on what kind of mood you are in. So, like, right, steak is a great food if you're a meat eater, but sometimes you just don't feel like eating it. So this guy is going to be a talker. He's going to throw jokes, a funny guy, and this guy is going to be probably quiet. So this guy is a way better fit for you generally, but this might have a really, really big appeal. So that's kind of like what basically needs to happen here. So guys, smartly moving forward, smartly kind of like figure out how you kind of like want to pull everything together. But like unity, family is really important to you. If you feel that you are being pushed aside, that something is not achievable or something is not really working, oh, I didn't put the stuff in that kind of like respect, this is, guys, something that you need to take it as a red flag. So kind of like keep that in mind. So yeah, so Pisces kind of like is out. I forgot to put this one card. So let's go next. Let's go next. Catch up with your comments. How many people we have? We have 15 people. Come on, let's go to 20. Kind of like it's a good feeling about that. Oh, where's my coffee? Where's my coffee? Coffee. Yeah, if anybody loves this deck, the only thing is, like, mind you, I have small hands compared to my body. Small hands and small feet. Like really size 7, which maybe this is why I have so many slips and falls. It's not that giving you great stability. And that's why it is kind of like it's hard to grasp, but I think this is just a regular deck. And also another complaint that people had was like it was a crappy stock. I find this is exactly perfect. It's not too thick, so you cannot deal with this. This is perfect. So here are my kitty cats for this morning and my coffee that I made. Hopefully you guys are working on yours. Okay, so let's do this. Ooh, Aquarius. And if you are wondering why you're not hearing barking or something, Tiger is with his dog walker, or I call it activity trainer. I think the tiger doesn't see well, and that's why he sometimes just lashes out. The crowd, maybe he sees some people as blobs. We'll see. All right, timestamp. All right. Okay, when the moon is in the 7th house, and that's why Aquarius also not only carry the star card, but also 7 of swords. So let's see. We have lots of Aquarians here, and there it is, another 7 of cups. What is this? Is this a snake crawling from underneath? Oh my freaking god, that's amazing. These cards are so exciting. and Eight of Cups. And I shuffled. I shuffled since last night, just to make sure the deck is kind of like full. And then we have Ten of Swords. Holy moly, what a freaking horrible thing to do. So Seven of Cups is always about, I don't know, like, I really don't know. Do I want this? Do I want that? By the time you figure out, everything ran out over here. Like, I mean, the power escaped. Like, I mean, the dragon have died. And this kind of like really talks about when you don't know. It's a very similar card to Two of Swords, except Two of Swords is very much when we are mulling it over. Two of Swords would happen, for example, if we are choosing a job, and then should I take this direction or that direction. But this is like more kind of gut feeling. It's more intuitive, and to make it worse, it's kind of like followed with Eight of Cups, right? So Eight of Cups is kind of like, okay, like, look, none of this kind of like I picked up, and maybe I didn't pick up because I already knew what is there. It's not really bringing me that. It's not energizing me, you know. Sometimes, oh my gosh, and I believe it's so many of us in this pandemic. Anybody else here, guys, that is feeling the same way, and that something is either missing or this pandemic is suppressing us? I guess you, Kylie, on the other side, you don't have like hell as we have it here. Toronto is not under lockdown anymore, but we are under something that's a gray zone, which is almost freaking the same. So I don't know. So Eight of Cups is, look, she's realizing she's leaving fire on water. She's like creating impossible, like kind of like she's happy, but she is kind of like saying, look, I really need to kind of like see and explore things. And exploring it goes. Look at the Ten of Swords rendition over here. It's kind of like, this is like the next stage, you know. In the regular deck, we see a dude who is basically backstabbed 10 times, and he's just giving this last signal. It's almost like a message in the sand about what has happened. But here, actually, let me see what the booklet says about this Ten of Swords, about their take on it. It's kind of weird. I still have the regular rendition of it, but kind of thanks. It says, the Ten of Swords comes to us in times of blinding truth, when delusion is lifted. Sometimes, so I guess that's talking about uplift, which kind of like is the second meaning of Ten of Swords. Things are looking up, and we maybe finished a cycle that kind of like is tumultuous, or we kind of like want to put an end. So it says it's the end to our current path, and a jarring resolution in the form of a broken relationship, a blocked dream, a fractured partnership, or a discontinued career path. And it says, remember that our wounds teach us about our greatest strengths and illuminate our innate ability to heal. Your dark night of the soul will be met with a beautiful new dawn that is filled with more light than you have ever experienced. So remain open and to love and joy as you process this ending, and look to the sunlight that awaits. That's very nice. It's kind of like a really new take on all of that. So Aquarians, it's going to be one of those weeks where we are kind of like finalizing things, 7, 8, 10. Certain things are okay, scratching your head, mulling it over, not knowing how to kind of like push this forward, right? So they're giving the COVID shot here in New York State. You know, that's something. Canada was the first one out of the gate. We got most of these vaccines. They were so happy. And then Mr. Trump blocked vaccines for us. And I think our president sourced something like where the poor country were getting it, so he got lots of slack for it. Oh, so my age group, guys, it's hilarious. You will laugh. I'll probably get the first vaccine in October, and even that, I don't know if I can even get vaccine with my shellfish allergies. My doctor said I wouldn't take a chance, so go figure. So we'll see. Scorpio, you are next. Scorpio, timestamp. Okay, so let's see your thing, Scorpio. And let's start. kind of like, I really have to tell you, because I come from Croatia, and we were never suppressed in Croatia. It's not a first world country, it's a second world country, right? But the whole point is, people were very compact and friendly, and I still believe I'm friendly, even though I have big teeth, I have to admit, when somebody ticks me off. Scorpio, you have a jumper. You have, ooh, you have a, you have a Knight of Cups. That's you. Oh my gosh. If I ever think of a Scorpio dude, that's it. So honestly, this pandemic feels like as if I'm back living in a country where everything is hard to source, where going anywhere is a difficulty, where people always kind of like gnaw on you, and that is like what bothers me the most, because I paid my dues 7 years to become a citizen here, so kind of like it really kind of like brings some bad memories. And keep in mind that I was running away from war when I arrived here. So Knight of Cups, and look at that, we have a Knight of Wands, and then you have this proverbial Seven of Swords. So Knight of Cups, it's clearly a Scorpio dude. It's a romantic, it's kind of like this knight in the shining armor, and look at him, he created a little message over here. The hat is down, oh my gosh, like I'm in fedora, I guess, and I don't know if you can see, you probably can't see that, but they are actually faint rays. It's a glow, and since we don't see the sun, I can only assume, because there is the glow from the unicorn or horse, it kind of comes this way, but this kind of like comes like this, and I don't know if you can see that at all. It's a kind of like really, really nice effect, right? But we have two knights, which is interesting. So this dude is all into romancing, so maybe this is you, that you're planning a surprise on your loved one. Maybe you're dealing with a fire sign, maybe you're dealing with an air sign, or maybe also you deal with another water sign, right? Because look at that, he is fully ready. Is there a vine, or is this something, wine or champagne, I would say, if it's on ice? Not sure what this is all about, but I would assume there is like some kind of like nutritious food. And I think here is the key, the message. You're receiving the message. Oh my gosh, I really like also how these cards feel. So there is going to be some very important message that you are getting, that you are going to celebrate. Look at that. So we have the horses over here. I guess the theme is the background. And almost looks like, and this is probably music to your ears, it's going to be something sexual, it's going to be something lovely, kind of like a thing, right? So here we can see this drumming up. So maybe this also can be a proposal, guys, I will have to say, and kind of like a big celebration about it. Having said that, then this comes through, right? We have, what is this called? Raven, right? That's Raven. And look at him. This can talk about betrayal. This can talk about grabbing what is yours. It can talk about cutthroat kind of a thing. But for some reason, and I don't know why, intuitively, I am not feeling that this is happening to you. I'm feeling that you're very protective of something that you are having. Maybe you're not even telling other people about things that you're going through, and maybe you cannot believe your own luck. Maybe you're so happy, so excited that, like, I mean, you are like really, really saying everybody back off. Also, this could mean that you have more than one suitors, more than one people who are kind of like coming your way, and that kind of like, it's kind of weird. Scorpio likes this attention, but here what I would see, because it almost looks like that this dude is looking at this woman and he's enjoying that sensual. It's not so much sexual as a sensual, because sexual sometimes can be very very raw, where sensual is like really exciting and it kind of lasts, right? And Seven of Swords is kind of like coming up as a warning. So either, even though you like to flirt, you're going to kind of like say, no, I'm really going to focus here at what I'm doing, because you're fixed sign. You ultimately pick and choose. This also can tell me that you can find something in a partner that you really, really love. So kind of like you might like the eyes on the person. You might even like how this person moves her hips, or how he kind of like nods his head, right? And that's going to be like the focus of the entire week for you. You're going to kind of like be enjoying this kind of like dance of intimacy, the dance of sexuality. It's going to be really, really neat. I see you just started dating a Scorpio. So that's kind of like interesting over here for you, Chris. It will be really interesting next week. I'll ask you what the hell was the Seven of Swords. Because Scorpio sometimes also pull back. They go, and then they pull back. And kind of like they cannot even explain like to themselves what is really, really going on, right? So let's see what we have here. Kylie, heartbreaking that people are scared to hug. I look forward to my soul family women's group, as we do hug and share compassion and the same empathy for others at this time. Well, that really depends. I still hug my friends, but not, I'm going to wait out, but I really think not hugging, mind you, like for example, Europeans don't hug, but I think non-hugging can create mental health issues, just the essence of hugging. And that's why I think people who dance are healthier, because there is like this human kind of like a touch. So that's really, really interesting. So we'll see. Yes, earth and water mix well, but Scorpio and Capricorn are both very intense. So it's going to be very interesting in the beginning, but it can get to the point where there's kind of a clashing of minds, because Scorpio needs to win and they like to challenge their partner, and Capricorn is like, look, I'm taking you up there, why don't you trust me? So that's where it's going to be a little bit of kind of like those tectonic kind of like issues. So if this is overcome, it can really be a nice little kind of like mix. Then we have Madame Barbie. Any other Libras? My ascendant Libra. Let's do this. Libra. Oh, you're stinky. Holistic therapist and work in the same field. Guys, you know what helped me recently? I don't know if you're noticing, I'm not coughing very much or very little that I'm doing. It's almost gone. I went to a naturopath and she mentioned that I do horseradish and asparagus mush, I guess, if you want to call it. It was just too much work, so I just ate asparagus covered with horseradish, and then I got tired of that and I just started to put horseradish on my roast beef. And I think this is kind of like clearing it out. I mean, I'm doing all this other stuff, cleaners, air cleaners, but I think this kind of like was what clenched it. So Libra, you have 10 of Wands. So look in the rendition of 10 of Wands. When I was doing the walkthrough in this deck, I looked into this card and I was like thinking to myself, this is really good, because there is like that burden. It's almost like it's not burden on her, even though she's walking barefooted, but she's like down the hill versus otherwise is showing up the hill. So it's almost like that she is deciding to leave or go forward. There is like a new path. There's like something going forward. She's clearly taking kind of like care of herself. There are like lots of goodies. It doesn't look like she is going to be she's going to like miss, for example, food or something, but nonetheless it's a journey that kind of like I see kind of like very good. And you have also Knight of Cups. You might have somebody popping by and saying hello and saying kind of like things are really working out. Oh my gosh. And you also have Ten of Pentacles. So guys, for those of you who kind of like are already in a relationship of some sort, okay, so let's start with this. Like for those who are in a relationship of some sort, maybe you felt that there's like some kind of like distance from your partner, or maybe you communicated something and the partner said and it kind of like you felt like it was just a brush off. But this is going to feel, no, like, I mean, they have been doing their own thing, or they have experienced in something, and you kind of like you need to kind of like pick a better timing for it. Or maybe the partner comes around and kind of like says, okay, whatever, now I can listen. And because sometimes people just want to be polite and they tell you something really quick where other people can see it as a short answer, I kind of see something like that. On the other hand, this can also talk about single people who have decided to just leave the past behind them. It's over, and these are kind of like those, what they call it, memento mori, right? Like when you die, you take something, and I'm horrible for that. Like, I mean, each time my kitty cats died, I always kind of like keep for a while, not forever, a patch of hair or something. But this could also mean kind of like taking something that is really, really meaningful and now creating something else, because this is a really excellent combination. Knight of Cups and Ten of Pentacles we're talking about. And like, I mean, this is kind of like connecting the dots. Like, you're going to meet somebody, guys, if you're single and you're looking. If you're single and you don't open your computer, you don't go out and meet people, you're going to kind of like not really be affected very much by my readings. It might be kind of like simply that's what you do, sitting on your butt, right? Just like this dude. How about instead of dreaming about this dreamy dude, kind of like really consciously doing it? What I really like about this combination, this is going to be something that is so freaking good, because neither of them care, for example, about materialistic things. This is completely kind of like face to face, kind of like looking into that souls and kind of like really, really enjoying it. So Libra, I think this is really, really good going, and I'm so glad for you. But you also maybe need to kind of like leave some kind of like garbage behind. You need to kind of like start going in a completely different path, right? So could it be a soulmate? A Knight of Cups? I don't know if I would call it soulmate. Yeah, I'm sure, Kylie, that some people would interpret it that way, but I'm more like I see that as somebody who is a post sign. It's the angel that comes through, that is just kind of like directing us in a direction and helping us clarify our things, which some people call it angel, some people call soulmate. Could be simply karmic soulmate, somebody who is affecting vibrations on us so we can succeed in something, and you're succeeding in pulling things together. So this could be pulling through at work, getting a job, the Ten of Pentacles, or simply kind of like really meeting somebody who is going to be the real thing. It's not going to be 3 dates and then everything fizzes away. Kind of like will be completely different, right? So let me try to put the Barbie. I tried already a few times to get her as a moderator. Oh, add moderator, and Bar Kushinsky is now a moderator for your channel, and yet she's still gray. Okay, so Barbie, you are gray. That's what it is. We have to figure out something. So the next one, there's one on the bottom, really, really wants to go. Oh, you have a Libra moon, Kylie. That's right. And then Pisces, we did you. Happy birthday again. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Hi, Charter. Oh my gosh, I like the icon. Where do you guys get such a cute icons? My phone doesn't really have it. Lockdown is a reason. Oh my gosh. It is so freaking hard, right? I have the guy right to live in the apartment building. It's a small one, only 40 units, 4 floors, right? So the guy who lives across from me is just notoriously stupid. And he lives, I think, with his sister and a whole bunch of girlfriends that come in and out. So he doesn't wear a mask, and he is a bus driver for the city. So imagine how many people he meets, and he's just oblivious to the fact that he might be kind of like bringing this. So Leo, you're next. Leo, let's do this. Where is your sticky? Leo. Ooh, what's this? 8 of Pentacles and Ace of Pentacles. And guys, if you know of any method how I can test Tiger's eyesight, I know he cannot go to eye doctor and say how he looks, but I really think, poor thing, he's probably seeing everything fuzzy. So, but he's not bumping into anything, so that's kind of confusing. And this is a 4 of Pentacles. So your pentacle, 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 ladies and boys over here, and they're all very good pentacles. Look at this, 8 of Pentacles. She's totally enjoying everything. It's really weird because usually 8 of Pentacles is like putting the final touches, and it almost looks like she's served everything, and now she's kind of like bringing this candle to the table, and that candle is going to kind of like pull everything together. With me, it's like first the silver, the dishes and candles, and then I kind of like served the dinner. So this kind of like means she completed, and she kind of like felt there's like that little bit touch that she needs to finish her masterpiece, kind of like. And it's really interesting because you guys are almost like repositioning yourself, possibly financially, because Ace of Pentacles really talks about there is like a new start. It's something that is connecting with something that you have done, and possibly that you have done in the last 8 months, because Pentacles kind of like generally relate to months. And it could be that you were doing final touches, that you are planning something, that you are building something, and maybe you have succeeded in that, maybe you didn't. If you didn't, then they're like, now it's a really, really good week to kind of like really kind of like spread your wings and launch it, whatever it is. Maybe you want to start a new job, a new business. Pentacles are very related to very pragmatic things, so kind of like jewelry, wine, soaps, candles, and that sort of things, right? So Ace of Pentacles is my favorite ace. It really talks about this kind of like looking forward, the kind of like looking in a distance, kind of like where you want to be. But there is a but, and that is this one. Look at how close she's holding her purse over here. It's almost like identical card to Raider Waite, where she's kind of like looking. It's kind of like some Morocco style thing. She has runes over there. So she is clearly concerned about possibly her budget, possibly about her it's kind of like she doesn't even have a vision. She doesn't look into that. She's just saying like, I kind of like have to hold the purse strings really, really tight. So maybe it's just a simple, maybe you purchase something and right now you have to kind of like really watch it. Maybe you want to purchase something and hence certain other things will have to go. So Leo, the entire week is going to be about reassessing your positioning, your goals, your material kind of like things, your physical things. Some of you might be doing the spring cleaning, some of you might be doing interior decorating. However, you'll be thinking, I don't really want to spend anything. So you're actually being very resourceful, and that's what Ace of Pentacles is, kind of like trying to figure out what you already have to make it work, versus, because Leo is a really big spender, versus kind of going out and kind of like doing kind of like stuff. So that's really interesting. So tell us, Kylie, soulmate, tell us a little bit about it. Let me have a sip of a coffee. I want to hear all about it. So 24, yay. Yay. So guys, I'm not going to have a live for that Easter weekend, so I'm going to give myself a long weekend, but I'm going to announce it because the previous week is going to be bi-weekly, and that's basically how it's going to do. So I just basically will give myself those weekends, and generally I don't do much other than sleeping a lot. I'm still mulling over what to do with the channel, how to approach it, because it needs some kind of like revamp. But I still didn't come up with anything really great. So I don't know if it's any point going in mediocre solutions. So Taurus, you're next. Taurus. Stamp. So Taurus. What? I almost like said I'm missing your thingy here. I couldn't see it for a moment. So let's see what we do. Oh, East Coast has no indoor dining. I think Chris is in the West Coast, and California is really also kind of like really stuck. And now they're talking about this third wave, and it will be really interesting to see you guys Americans, because it looks like vaccinations, these two wanting to come out. These vaccinations are way better over there. You have more people. Well, technically you have more people, but you have to have more people to vaccinate. So I think we only have 1 million vaccines rendered in Canada. So given that we are 36, 37 million people, that's not a lot. You have 9 of Swords, you have 8 of Wands, 8 of Swords, and Ace of Pentacles, my dear Taurus. It is really weird because this to me looks like zigzag. This to me looks like the person who is inside and kind of like it feels the warmth of a fireplace. And then let's check what is outside. And the outside is like this big snowstorm. Anybody watches Snowpiercer? Like it's like snowstorm that just like blasts you, like you're dying how cold it is, right? And back and forth, back and forth. That's kind of like how this really feels for me, right? There are certain things in your head that are occupying your thoughts. Because look at that. Look at this new, what do you say, craven, I guess, right? It's forming, but it's not fully formed yet. So I call this card, oh my gosh, and even here, I don't know if you can see it. They're almost like it's just the outline of her bed, but she's like sitting on a bed of grass. And I guess this is like where we get to a certain point where we said, well, I hope things were different, but they're not. And you feel stuck. You just cannot make this decision. And literally 9s are calling for this decision. Sometimes we are just sad, and sometimes the decision to be made has to be done in a way that you lock yourself in the room and you shed your tears and you just let it run, let it kind of like complete its mission, because these are all swirling thoughts and worries, and when they kind of like disperse, something new sits into that place. It's almost like, that's why I call it wash machine brain. You can't get rid of it. Well, if I do this, like, did you ever speak to that? Like, I mean, in my coaching therapy, I kind of like sometimes approach this. Like, you say to these people, okay, well, you know, you want to do this, you want kind of like move out from your parents, yeah. And then we start kind of like going in this direction, like the kind of like things that needs to take physical things, but also kind of like emotional. And then the person, yeah, but, right? Because in each and every time there's an obstacle, and that's kind of like the state, right? Which is weird. This almost like feels like a blockage, guys. Any Taurus over here, guys? Anybody? Because here we have this. It's a burst of energy. It's a burst of activity going forward, and we have like 2 8s. But then you're feeling more comfortable in that worrisome stage, in that issues, because again, who was this? Pisces, right? So this is kind of like summoning things, and instead of summoning something, you're just heading right back to that swirling thoughts. Some of you guys, and I'll be really honest with you, are dealing with some kind of delusional state. You need to really question yourself, because if you look at her, it really isn't. Look at the birdie birds. Are just taking the little kind of like threads. They're not serious. You can just like take it off anytime. She needs to remove the blindfold just to see that this is kind of like something that is really not a big deal. Just like what she's doing it here. However, it feels like this week that even though maybe somebody comes through and tells you that they love you, that they care for you, that you're going to go and just maybe not feel, I don't know, complete comfort with this person, because 8 of Wands is like so energetic. It's so kind of, hey, let's do it, you know, like somebody knocks on your door, it's your friend, hey, let's go out, let's play golf, it's a beautiful day, and you're like, oh no, I don't feel like it. And so like 2 people really confused, because that's what's going to happen. Ultimately, you're really focused on your finances. You're really focused on things that are going on. You really want to kind of like plan something long term. And this is really good that finally by the end of the week, so we are talking Thursday, Friday, you're turning a new leaf. So we are going from 9 to basically Ace. So the switch has happened. You finally decided whatever it is. I call it like, don't play poker with sweaty palms. Everybody knows you have nothing. So this is it. You're telling, screw you everybody, I'm not going to do this, and here are the freaking cards. I am doing certain different things. And that's kind of like a very positive decision that really takes you in a positive direction. So yay. So what are we in the angel cards right now? Is Barbie telling me to do this. Oh my gosh, Barbie, I love when you kind of like do that, because I would be just going on and on. So let me kind of scroll back here and just go it in the order of appearance. So Barbie was first. Angel card for Barbie. You guys can chime in if you want to. Barbie, gratitude. It's kind of weird because I held it like that. So I'm going to tell you attitude of gratitude. Very, very important. So why is this important? I'm reading lots of Eastern philosophy lately, and oh my gosh, it makes so much more sense. From exercising to eating to everything. It's kind of weird. I used to do it naturally in Europe. Like, I mean, you would eat only things in season. And of course, season is different for people in California and people over here right now. Like, nothing is in season because everything is dead unless the roots. But here, gratitude is basically the ultimate godly emotion. You know how people say love trumps hate, or love is opposite of hate? I kind of like don't agree with that. I think gratitude trumps hate. This is one of the strongest emotions that you have. I used to buy, I don't know if you see that movie, The Secret. It was kind of a little bit cheesy, but kind of like the point was there. And I bought their gratitude journal, which was just beautiful. It still actually sits next to my bed. And every so often, I used to do it every day, but every so often I just kind of like wrote into it, whatever, just the basic things. I'm grateful that my pets are healthy, that they're still kind of like enjoying living here, and so on and so forth. So kind of like something like that is showing up here. Let's see one for me. Let's see what I get. What do I get? This one, education. Well, of course, I'm studying something. I'm actually studying a completely new divination method, right? And I don't even know if it's going to be something that I can actually do it over here. It's just simply lots of mathematics, so I don't think it's going to be easy. But oh my gosh, it's premature to talk about it. Then again, Kylie, you have a huge female huntsman spider. You can find it. Well, spiders are good luck, commitment. Are you still, I guess you finished your studies, and like it looks like you're putting your thinking hat on something and kind of like setting up your goals and moving forward. Barbie, this is you. You're getting two: transformation from dark to light and clarity. Maybe you felt maybe Liz is going to resolve our crappy things that we have at YouTube. You're just like, oh my god, how did that happen? So Barbie, you can send me your phone number if you feel comfortable, and then maybe during the week we can touch base and finally get to the bottom of that, because it's crazy. And hopefully YouTube is also going to do this as well. Clarity, again, you will know who, what, where, and how you are going. Then we have knitting yogi, and integrity. And kind of like that's pretty much the spirit. This is kind of like the feeling I get from you, that it's very important for you to do things for the right reasons. I guess it's not easy to talk you into stuff. Oh, just let's do it just for the sake of doing it. So I guess this is kind of like something in tune with your authenticity. Lorna H, am I seeing you here? I just see the little kind of like icon smiley face. Lorna H, awakening. And I don't think this talks about literal awakening unless you're like just in bed and you're just listening to this. This is kind of like talking about something clicking, something working out, and that's really, really important. So let's see Chris. Chris. And Lynn, I'm going to make you into moderator because you have been really coming here, but I have to tell you, let's see if it's going to work at all. But I have to tell you that I also remove moderators when they kind of like don't stop coming. So just one of those things. So let's see. Respect. Whoa. So be kind of like pay attention. that you're getting it and you're also giving it. Then Kelsey, you're on your way to become a mod also soon. So let's see over here, sending again healing vibes. Whoops, exactly. Make sure that you're like really in bed, that you're like really relaxing. Very important. Anybody who messes with you, just push them aside. It kind of like has to go. Who else? Jennifer Richardson. Good morning, Jennifer. I don't know if you're still here. Inspiration. Just take your creative mind out and just go for it. I was like doodling a few days ago, and I'll show you my doodle. Kind of like I was really proud of myself. The very first project really didn't work, but the second or the third one kind of did. And this is what I did. And that's my signature with love. So it was just like my inspiration with the little octopusy. I guess anything that has pussy in there I like. I mean that just didn't come out right. Okay, so Jennifer, did I pull it out? Inspiration, I guess. Again, just twice in a row. What else? Who else? Lynn Westbrook. Did I not do Lynn Westbrook? Did I? Did I not? Yeah, I did. See, this is really good for jogging my... Crystal Smith. If anybody is not getting their card, raise your hand. Purification. So drink lots of water. Make sure you don't eat any crappy stuff, because it might cost you kind of like heartburns and stuff like that, right? Charter, you are next. Charter is having grace. Grace is important, especially under fire. How we react. There is a non-knee-jerk reaction, so just like think twice or 3 times or 5 times before acting. So I see here I'm catching up. Chris says we are moving into the so-called rect here tomorrow, which includes inside dining. Well, it's kind of like really tricky because I'm supposed to meet with somebody, so we go and celebrate my birthday a month later. And Toronto itself is locked, but like the surrounding areas are in the red zone, like as I guess what you call red tier, and it's limited kind of like dining. So we are trying to organize something like that. And I think I did all. Did I not? Kelsey, Crystal, Charter, and that's it. So next, let's continue the part 2. The part 2 is doors. Oh, that's right. Oh my gosh, what would I do without Barbie? What would I do without my lady here? And do I want these? You know what? I'm going to grab these cards. Which one did I do these cards last time? Oh, never mind. I'll do that. So let me lock it a little bit for you. So let me just put a stamp here. And you guys think so you can send me your energies that I can kind of like read out of it. Usually when I do the reading, I ask people for their birthday and for their name. This gives me enough vibration. I can really easily read people's aura. I can do it without it, but that is clearly, this identifies this person. So think about it. Think about your question. Don't think about the outcome you would hope for. Just almost like as if I'm putting this before the universe, and I just like really want to see what's going to happen. The first card jumped out, the second one, and the third one wanted to have a little bit more than 1. So let's do this. Okay, the door. And what is this here? Like, why is this all weird? Like, was this happening all the time, or I just managed to dink it right now? So, left door. We are talking the Hangman. So it's a major arcana. So this situation is not going to be resolved. But it is requiring you to be completely void of self-serving. completely kind of like that you need to see the other party. Maybe you're working with some kind of like difficulty, with some kind of like on the fence kind of situation. You really need to be selfless over here. You really need to kind of like push things really forward in a way that you can say, you know what, I did so many things here that I'm realizing I don't understand, and this has been a good kind of like educational thing. I don't know why, but the cancel culture is coming to me here. Who asked for the door number one? Kind of like maybe somebody's kind of judgmental, or not willing or not be capable to kind of like resolve something. But look at this, Raven is over here as well, and kind of like saying, I'm bringing you kind of special Neptune kind of like benefits, and Neptune is this imagination. So you need to kind of like turn things around, or things will turn around by you simply kind of like trying to see this from a different perspective, trying to sit in somebody else's shoes. But I really don't know if that's going to move forward in the next week, because this is a sacrifice that needs to really, really be done, right? So so then Lynn says, is this pussycat relationship worth cuddling up to? You will see. You have to kind of like start seeing what they are seeing, and just to kind of like understand if this is a really good match. Door number 2, guys. Whoa, we have another major arcana. I didn't see actually any jumpers, so I actually really don't know which cards are they. The door number 2 is death, which means something definitely needs to stop. So again, this is a very hard card to define with yes and no, right? Because technically the first answer is no, but then immediately is yes after that, right? So because something has to stop in order for something else to continue. So for example, if you're in a relationship and you split and you want to revive this relationship, then it tells you it was a good thing to stop, because this actually really didn't go anywhere. That relationship needs complete renaissance and complete renewal in order to move forward. So this is kind of like, and this is an internal change. These are the changes we can make, right? So it's really interesting because this is 12. Here we are still in a situation, we are trying to actively change the situation. Here we are out of the situation, kind of like put a fork in me, I'm done. But you're actively working on yourself, internally you're shifting. If we kind of like miss these road signs in the death card, and we get the devil card with fall in the hole, and we get in 15, and we get in 17 the tower, which is okay. This is okay, you didn't listen when you had that, you didn't listen when you had devil, off you go, now you get a tower, that kind of stuff, right? So, and then the door number 3, holy moly, this is a definite yes in this deck. We have the sun, we have 10 of Wands, and we have the World. So 2 major arcanas with 2 massively positive experiences. I don't know, something is fixed, you want something that makes sense. Generally this card has a tricky meaning in pretty much every other deck than in this one. In this one it doesn't. I just cannot see it. I have to go with archetype. Archetype is like, it's a burden, it's hard. I don't see this person is burdened or kind of like at all, like with kind of carrying this weight. And this person is also successful, not just a peasant or something. So this is somebody who is well versed in what they do. Maybe this simply means that everything is transparent, because that's, the sun is a big disinfectant. And no, do not drink bleach, please. But this is kind of like really talking about, maybe you ask about the kids, maybe it was a problem with the kid, maybe, you know, it was enrollment of some sort, maybe it is about a relationship that had some secrets. Everything is coming out in the open, and everything is working out, and everybody's on the same page. So this is absolutely amazingly lovely over there. So, all right, so let's continue. Hopefully, guys, you kind of like really compare this, like in the beginning and the end. I have one client, I have a few clients, but one in particular who is very, very studious, and she kind of like, she gets my annual readings, she also gets quarterly readings, and she kind of like creates notes, so that way she doesn't have to listen to the entire reading, she can just like really refer to the notes. And she says, oh my gosh, you said that, and you said that, and you said that, and this is happening right now, and this is happening right now, and this is happening right now. So it's just kind of like really amazing, because she does it regularly, quarterly, 4 times plus annual, And also because we do coaching, we do some kind of like Lenormand, so it's lots of things that we can see through. And it's also kind of amazing how it doesn't come through as gibberish, right? Things are actually gluing together. And I cannot remember anymore what happens in all of your readings, like possibly the day after I'm gone. That's why I say just give me your feedback and give me the timestamps, because after that I'm not listening your reading. But when, for example, she says, this is exactly what you said in the annual is showing up. That's kind of like, to me, also amazing, right? And it's a confirmation of this bigger spiritual kind of a thing. And that's kind of bigger spiritual thing that is really missing in this pandemic. And I think that is really important to kind of like address. And maybe this is why the pandemic is there, to bring us all together. And when we start addressing that and kind of going, and so basically we are all in the Hangman card right now. We need to address this process. Sagittarians, you are next. I think we have Sagittarius here, right? So look at this 111 when I started with this. Let me just put the timestamp. So Barbie, do you want to do the timestamps and have your beautiful icons and then send it to me and post it? Or you just want me just to post it my way, just the stamp? So let me know if you're comfortable with that. I always give you credit because this is just weird. And I don't want people to think that, that I just like kicked you out or something like that. None of a sort. So who did I say I'm doing next? Sagittarius. And I need to take this one out. Sagittarius. Thank you, Kylie. Well, about accuracy, this is really interesting because I don't know, guys, if you got readings with me, then you know that always in a sign off I send you some links of something that I recorded, kind of like maybe this is to cut your cords or something, just to be useful. But also in terms of accuracy, I also ask me your feedback, because I don't ask questions. Sometimes you go to a reader and oh my god, they want you to tell them everything, and then why do you need a reading? Like they're trying to act like a life coach, and you know this person, so I don't know like if this kind of like really works. I actually don't. I just have your date of birth and your name. This is pretty much the information I get, plus your questions. And so your feedback, sometimes people come and tell you this entire situation, is actually very important, because I find completely new meanings and different aspects when you guys do that. So accuracy gets better over time. So Sagis, nothing jumped, so let's do it this way. So we are going to, whoa, Three of Swords. Oh my god. Oh my freaking god. Isn't this the worst? Oh, I'm just feeling, oh my god. It almost looks like it's the blood falling and it's around her. I think it's the tightness of the chest, and this is kind of like stretched, and she feels, oh my gosh, my heart is falling apart. What happened? Let's see the other two. We have Queen of Swords, and then we have Two of Swords. So this is where they're starting to weave, and finally they fully encompass her in the Eight of Swords over here. Because in the Eight of Swords she also has the blindfold, the only two ones with the blindfold, right? Which is really interesting. So Sagittarians, you have all sorts. There are lots of thoughts happening. There is like a talk about some kind of disappointment or some kind of like a letdown. And it's really hard for us to see it in that moment, but this moment really talks about rejection is God's protection. Something doesn't happen, and you really want it to happen. I'll tell you a story. Before I left Croatia, it was, and like don't quote me from where to here because I don't really remember the details, but this is a true story. And that was back then when we didn't have cell phones and this notification thing, so just take this in mind because it might not make sense in 21st century. It made sense back then in 1990. So the flight crashes, right? You hear it in the news, and we had news, I think at 7 or 8, I think at night we had news, and it was like this big flight that collapsed, and I think everybody is dead. And then a few days later, you're reading in the paper how a woman is asking for a divorce. And so basically what happened, the husband just came back that night with his suitcase. I'm back from my trip. And he was completely oblivious of the news and everything that was going on. So I guess clearly he was doing some kind of hanky-panky, and it was clear positive. Interestingly enough, even though the situation happened for him, and actually technically he was scheduled to be on this trip, he decided to be with his lover. So he has lost his wife, I guess. But this is really interesting because that's kind of like what would show that it was not a good exit out, right? If he flew, he would lose his life. This way he's losing somebody really, really meaningful to him. So Three of Swords really talk about some kind of like those Sophie's choices. Did you see this like movie? It's heart-wrenching. So I don't know, it might be even this weekend. But then you need to put the Queen of Swords crown over there. And Queen of Swords is like, wait a minute. I can make it. I can get out of it. Queen of Swords reminds me of the person who will be in jail, who cannot get along with her jailmates whatsoever, not intellectually, not spiritual, nothing. But she's going to have that presence, that aura of herself that is just going to kind of like look up. That people will almost like kind of like bend to it, right? And she will always find a solution. She will always give a great advice, and I absolutely love it. The sword is not in the kind of like attack mode over here, but nonetheless it is kind of like thinking through those ideas. And you have to kind of like figure it out, and this is really interesting. You have to go step back. Why did certain things happen? Because this is asking you, why did I keep my eyes closed? What did I not see? Because of what I didn't see, certain things happen. So you need to really kind of go into this Queen of Swords kind of like mode, or you need to ask somebody who is able to kind of like decipher those things for you, and that's going to be very, very helpful for your Sagittarius. So it's going to be a little bit kind of like brainiac exercise for you the entire week. And so don't give up, because Two of Swords, after all, it just means kind of like figuring out when did you take left when you were supposed to do right, and just like redo it. So that's important, right? So Kylie, Sagittarius, she says residual energy of past, revisiting for healing. That could be it, right? And that could be also that from time to time we get that as well. And who's next? I'm talking to you like I'm talking to Tiger. Poor thing. And Capricorn. Capricorn, it's your turn. It's timestamp. Capricorn. Okay. Capricorn. There we go. Are you guys enjoying this deck? What can you connect to it? Does it feel right, or you still would prefer Rider Waite? For example, if I do the reading, I think this is more or less good deck for these lies, not so much possibly for having this immersed archetypes, but I still love it. So let's see, Capricorn. We have Four of Swords. Oh my gosh, what a lovely, lovely, lovely card for Four of Swords. And that's a heart on a thread, because remember in Three of Swords we had this heart, and these two want to come out. So this is the Emperor. Ooh, awesome card. And that's a Page of Swords. Okay, so let's see what's happening over here, right? Yeah, Ho'oponopono, like Kylie, yes. And I read quite a few books, and I think in what you do, you definitely should look into that. That is really good combined with like with Qigong, because you can direct the energy, and Reiki. Anyway, Capricorn, I love it. It's a little nesting thing. You kind of have a heart close to yourself, but there are also prickly parts of it, right? So you just, maybe it was experience, or maybe being some kind of letdown. It could have been some rejection, and now you just need peace. You know, that's what happens to us after a relationship. We just kind of like want to have a little bit space for ourselves. It's really, really important. But this is pretty good. This is that gratitude over thing. And I don't know, is that a tattoo that she has here? No, it isn't a tattoo. Well, no, it is. I think No, it is. These are roses all over her, on her clothing. I was thinking like they're bruises. This is how my leg looks like right now after a fall. But no, this is kind of like in a bed of roses. Keep in mind then when we feel this nesting, or maybe you just simply want to stay in and kind of like do the stuff inside kind of a thing. I don't know, for some reason I'm thinking about barbecue here, but generally this card talks about gratitude. Be grateful where you are with what you have, and kind of like needing to have the space of your own and for your own, which is also the message of this card, the Emperor. And I love the chess piece over here. And I also love how he's sitting on the world and you cannot see. It's lovely what you can do with these dimensions. And look at, there is like this stream of consciousness coming through over here into kind of like what move to do next. The Emperor is very safe card. It really talks about, hey, now I know so many things, now I'm applying all of these things because it's time to kind of like make things really, really work and kind of like push it forward. So there's almost like you might learn something new, you might check things. It's always data oriented. It's not learning anything spiritual, but something very, very pragmatic. So it could be spirituality that you're using, but it has to, how do I do it? Do I do the video? Do I contact somebody? So it's going to be very kind of like down to earth approach to it, right? Also, this could mean that like you're dealing with some Aries or possibly even late Pisces here as well. And then you have Page of Swords, and what a lovely Page of Swords it is. Look at that. This is like typical of walking, really something tightrope. It can break, it can fall, doing a whole bunch of freaking things at the same time, illuminating things. Lots of things are happening in our head when we are doing that. So much that we are oblivious on everything that is going on. So this can also mean you looking at somebody, maybe somebody who is going in all the directions, right? Somebody, it's kind of weird because these are swords and these are swords. It could be like that there is like somebody from the past that is going to now reconnect in the future, in this week. And it could be somebody with whom you have intellectual ideas, intellectual exchanges, where the things are connecting in that way, shape, or form. Keep in mind, Page of Swords sometimes has ability, and possible because, hey, they're always busy with something, to kind of like react in a kind of like little abrupt way. So that's kind of like something that you really need to kind of like take in account, right? So think about it, right? So, but I would not really worry about you because you'll feel in control, you'll feel in charge, you'll feel that you're where you want to be. So even if somebody's a little bit abrasive toward you, you'll shrug your shoulders and say, okay, somebody has a bad day, kind of a thing, right? All right, so let's go next. Yeah, the photos are very nice. I mean, I'm not so sure if they're photos or drawings or combination of it, but it's really well done. Gemini, we go. Gemini next. Gemini. Stamp. Let's see here. Gemini. Hi, Joanna. Oh, nice to see that. So, yeah, it's kind of cheery, good colors. As I said, like, I mean, holy moly, it took me, like, this was, like, literally can encompass Mercury Retrograde. This was so many times back and forth, sending it back, that I was just about to give up. So, Gemini, you have 10 of Wands, but then you have a 9 of Cups. Ooh, this is absolutely lovely. This really talks to me about possibly leaving a relationship that doesn't really work. And it took you for freaking forever to do that. And this one wants to come out. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It took you forever to do that. It took you forever to make this decision. And when you made it, you just kind of like really didn't look back. It could have been that you're coming from the place when it was hard. I know for some reason I'm kind of like feeling there's like somebody older than you, and that kind of like older kind of like created a clash. So it was like two very different attitudes. Maybe that's all there is. That one attitude was very eccentric, very bubbly, where the other attitude was kind of like always opaque and cryptic, and it was just freaking too much for you, Gemini. You need this light. You need to kind of like know the path where you're going. You communicate along the way. Yes, you can be very flighty to the other people because your mind is very mercurial. You can change, but nonetheless, kind of like things are moving forward. And look at that. The decision is being rewarded multiple times. Almost looks to me, guys, if for example you're leaving one relationship, you're going to find yourself very soon in something that is going to be permanent. Literally, if you left a relationship, you start dating somebody, then that's going to be it. That's kind of how it looks. Even though I don't have major arcana, I only have minors, it cannot be better. Nine of Cups is the wish card. It's kind of like but it's really talking about, as it shows in this deck. Oh, look at that. We have the x-rays and my shades over here. It's kind of like really interesting how this really shows in the card. And then we also have this sunburst in the card itself. But this really talks about a heart chakra, even though it should be possibly solar plexus as well, but it's kind of like your heart's desire, kind of a thing that this kind of like wants to simulate. And this is what he's really talking about, is internal attitude is the one that really matters. So on this long road down, maybe you felt, I'm just sinking down, I'm not improving my life, I'm just going down on my own. But all of a sudden, these all ideas are making sense. Certain things you're feeling that you are embraced, you're feeling that you're accepted, that you are valued, which probably wasn't the case before. So, oh my freaking God. Amazing. Amazing, Gemini. So it's a good thing. There you go. Look at Joanna. You see, Joanna, this is what happens. And I know you will probably you will think that I'm tooting my own horn, but like you're telling me, guys, like, I mean, what are the chances that she just comes right there and she's just like getting this, and most likely, look at it, we just did Saggy and Capricorn. You are bringing us this energy, Joanna. This is so amazing. You're going to have freaking amazing time this week. So just don't sit on your butt, as I said. Sitting on your butt inside of your home is not going to get you anywhere. Cancer. Let's see her stamp. Cancer. Cancer. There is one. Knight of Swords. Ooh, look at this one knight. This one knight doesn't have the horse. It has something that has more horsepower over there. Really interesting. And I like the bow and arrow. Is that a bow and arrow? I guess it is. Yes, it is. It's a very goal-oriented thing. And Cancer, like, I mean, your the thing that represents your sign, and basically people in July, not only Cancers but people in July, born in July, is basically the Chariot, and the Chariot rules all the knights. It does make sense. And then you have Six of Pentacles, and then is another 7. Then you have a 7 of Wands. Okay. You are having some thoughts. Do you have any Cancers over here, guys? You're having some thoughts about leaving some situation that you found yourself. And it could be that situation really started to grow roots and even weeds. And it was really hard to reorient. Maybe you received some kind of like wake-up call. You know, when the doctor tells you need to kind of like do this now or else. Because clearly this can really talk about health a little bit as well. Or maybe you're simply feeling that you're stuck in the rut and that you really need to get out of it. Six of Pentacles to me is about proper exchange. I don't know why. I mean, we do see this infinity sign, which is generally, I don't know if that's what they meant, is generally reserved for the Magician, for the World card, and for the Strength card, right? But here I clearly see that. I see that energy coming through. To me, it's a very much a yin and yang. As you can see, this exchange of a different elements over here, it is really happening. So almost like tells me that you are reconfiguring yourself. Maybe you have find yourself in a space where you're just doing the same thing over and over again, eating the same food, talking to the same people, doing the same job, not kind of like taking creative chances. And it's kind of like getting to the point that you're saying, you know what? I kind of like need to find this purpose. This is like solar plexus over here is being affected. I really like this crystal ball or the window, whichever way you want to do it. It's kind of like the presence. It's the eye of the needle in this particular deck that I can see that there's a card, right? It's kind of like pulling things in and understanding things in. So you're finding your purpose. You're finding the reasons to, like, to live, basically. And you are kind of like maybe going to even start something of a spiritual kind, maybe meditation. But it almost feels at the same time that you're living surrounded with people who are just not like that, who maybe ridicule things like that. So maybe they would ridicule tarot, maybe they would ridicule Tai Chi, for example, anything like that, yoga. It's ha ha ha, I'll just grab a beer or something. And it's kind of weird because, you see, most people would just say, you know what, I can take you on with a little spoon like a medicine. Not you. From what I'm seeing over here, that you're fully accepting the situation, working within the parameters, and you're saying, you know what, you are who you are, accept you this way, I'm the way I am, I'm not going to change either, so guess what, we can make this really work. And this is kind of like what is really beautiful about this reading. You're still kind of like with how you do it, with how you conduct yourself, you're moving forward, you're kind of like creating yourself to the leader. So that's going to be very, very interesting. I don't know if we have any cancers over here, but this was a very interesting reading over here. So we have two more left. We have Aries and we have Virgo. So let's see. This one wants to go first. And that is okay, guys. Let's see which one is that. The last time we did this, and frankly this time I don't have any intuitive thoughts. So let's see, guys, take your chance. I have one here and I have one here. So which one we are doing first, Aries or Virgo? Any takers? Nobody. Well, let's try with Virgo. No, of course it's the other way around. So if you guys thought Aries, you're ahead of me today. You had a better guessing game. So, and my C factor, as they call it, it looks like it doesn't work today. So let's do it. Aries. Ooh, the devil. Isn't the devil kind of cool over here? You almost like want to get this freaking card. Aries. Oh, this one wants to come through. And we have a King of Wands. That will be you. Or maybe you're dealing with a Leo in your life. And then you have a Page of Pentacles over here. So, devil made me do it, kind of a thing will be happening. So maybe you're kind of like doing some kind of shortcuts in your life. And Aries is kind of like a typical sign that never sees anything wrong with it. It's like we're all following the rules, right? Waiting in the line, bumper to bumper cars, like to get something. And I mean, that's Aries. Going around, nothing wrong because they're in a hurry. They know what they need to do, and it's not like about you guys have no words. It's just like I need to get there. What is like part you cannot get? Kind of like it's very, very interesting, right? So that's really, really important over there. So the devil is, interestingly enough, look at his pulling strings of somebody who is in distress over here. You might be putting somebody in distress, or this could be you being in distress for one way or the other. There are like issues that need to kind of be taken in consideration and so on and so forth, right? So the devil can also talk about codependency, where we are making decisions that we feel it's not ideal. For example, if you ask your higher self, hey, what you do this decision, higher self will say, I don't think so, but you do it anyway because you feel that you just have to, that this is the best option under the circumstances, right? So that's kind of like a dealio here. But this kind of like encourages me. I look at this. This is that what do you call it? Didgeridoo, kind of like what I see here. And there's like this desert kind of like thing. So he's clearly in charge of it. Look at that presence over here, like lioness presence over here that we see. I don't know if you can see this kind of like universe swirl, pretty much what we see it over here. So it's kind of like, hey, come over here. It's almost like you can see this lure that's happening, and he goes, no, I'm fine. Fine. It's like no explanation, no kind of like deflection, or anything. It's kind of like really falling back into um, having your own strength, having kind of like being in the zone, I would say, over here. And then we have a Page of Pentacles, which could mean simply dealing with your child of some sort. I don't know, it's a Pentacles, it could be a child that is an earth sign, or it could be simply that you need to deal with earthy things, something like a school, or it could be like that you deal with your employees, and then with your employees kind of like you're considering them children. Oh my gosh, I have to explain to them all the time. But there's like somebody who is specifically kind of like really dear to you. Also, this could mean a slight flirtation with somebody who might be younger than you, younger than possibly what you would take for dating, but that's the devil part over here. Devil makes everything possible. It just, you get a wool over your head and you think it's completely different thing. And I don't really think it's going to really work long term, because this person is very much into what they do. So it could be like, for example, a mature man and a student, or a mature woman and a student. So it's going to be a really interesting week for you, kind of like definitely getting out of regular and kind of like pushing it forward in new directions. So we are getting Virgo last. And you know, the last reading usually gets a little bit extra because they had to wait and wait and wait. So let me just put a stamp over here. And then we get into, you know, our stuff in between us while we are here on the live chat. So Virgo, just to confirm you, this was it. Maybe it's a time to make the new things, because these are falling apart for being so many times open and closed. But I kind of like them a little bit worn as well. I have some cards. I don't know if you know my romance cards from the Vitreous, all torn and falling apart and glued together, but they're getting such good results that I am not removing them. So Virgo, you have, oh my gosh, you have Ace of Cups. I don't know why it reminded me of a hot chocolate, but it clearly isn't. Then you have a Queen of Cups that is coming through. What a lovely week it's going to be. And then you have Queen of Pentacles, and this is you guys, absolutely. Oh my gosh, this is going to be a good week. Which was the other one, other sign, that Gemini, right? Oh my gosh, these two signs. And I guess it's a mercurial kind of connection that I see over here. I have to check astrology. Oh, this one has a little error in the print, but and why? But you see what I noticed, like somebody kind of cut through, but I'll survive. So this is it. This is like not only kind of like, so Virgo, first of all, first and foremost, this week is going to be with self-dedication. It's going to kind of like have a name, self-dedication. What you'll be doing is you will be focused on eating well, really eating well, really connecting everything that you do, breathing, reading, eating, communicating with other people, with your heart chakra. Your heart chakra is almost going to be a little kind of detector. So you might even have a shit detector if somebody is talking smack or crap, and not necessarily that you will communicate that to them. Instead, I think you're going to just have, you have almost like that. I see two slots on your heart chakra. For some reason it just looks like slots, and weird slots, the slots that you have to lift up, but when you lift them off, when you lift them up, you need to hold them with your own powers, or it just like falls down because it doesn't stay up. But when you open two of them, it's kind of like give and take. But when you open only one, you can just like push things out, kind of a thing. So I feel like that if you run into people who are not necessarily receptive to your kind of like things, or who are not necessarily helpful, you're going to open just one of those slots and just like, almost like swamp them with that rays of that chi, of that energy, and they're going to be just disarmed. They're just going to think, what the hell happened? I'm just like feeling good, almost like you drag somebody. I'm just feeling great. And guess what? kind of like giving that energy, and you have to give this energy, because otherwise you accumulate too much of yours and it cannot be stored and actually creates problems. So too much of a good thing, literally, kind of like is an example. And then we have a Queen of Cups. Oh my gosh, this looks amazing. She's sitting in water and she is just drawing this whole freaking thing. So you're going to be emotionally solid. Like you have two queens, Queen of Pentacles and Queen of Cups, right? So it looks like the week starts with emotional wave, with processing, intuitive, kind of like touchy-feely kind of a thing. And then you're formulating, and everything that you have learned, everything that you're taking, you're kind of like grounding yourself. Isn't this lady showing this amazing comfort, right? Queen of Pentacles to me is very similar to Nine of Pentacles, kind of like, and I just love this shamanic kind of like crowned over thing. And green, I think, is going to be a very important color for you this week, because it's heart chakra color, pink and green. It's kind of like being re-emphasized over here as well. So if you feel that you have any disturbance, whatever, maybe you have a headache, maybe somebody ticks you off, just put a green shawl on yourself and sit for 5 minutes, and it's going to lift. It's going to be tremendous healing power that you guys are going to have this week. So nothing negative to share or warn you, because you literally know how much to open and how much to close. And in fact, you'll be probably giving this energy out and share it with the other people. So it's going to be really, really amazing. All right, cards for the mods. Cards for the mods. Cards for the mods. So let me see. What was the order of appearance? Let me grab these cards still. And who was first? I'm trying to remember. I think Kylie was first. Let me see. Should we do the cards for the mods? Sure. And then we can do the doors after. No, Barbie was first. Barbie. Actually, probably should always start with Barbie. Barbie, you're getting 4 of Wands. There is like some motion forward, like, I mean, you'll be accomplishing your goals. There's like something that is happening that you feel that you are going in a direction where, you know, you want to go, like that you're in the right trajectory. 4 of Wands talks about accomplishment, taking your chance, celebration of a sort, feeling connected. It's kind of like one of those first stages when you feel I'm on the right path, I'm choosing the right things. So it's going to be really, really lovely for you, madame. Kylie, you have 9 of Cups. You kind of like, again, that heart chakra, you need to connect with that energy, and that energy is going to be very important, as you need to unload, as just like she's kind of pouring this, kind of like filling those cups. So you need to spread the wealth kind of with this kind of card. You have so much that anything more would actually create problems for you. So smile here, smile there, good deed here, good deed there. It's going to empty your reservoirs, not to complete empty kind of things. You have to watch it not to go too much, but just enough that you get the fresh new circulation and kind of continue your energy that high and that loving. And that's very, very important, right? Then we have knitting yogi over here. Knitting yogi. You're getting 2 of Swords. So it's a debate in your mind over possibly 2 outcomes of a sort. And isn't this like today the new moon? I think that that's possibly could be related to it. So meditation is in order, that you kind of like figure out the concept and direction where you're taking things, right? So 2 of Swords is again talking about removing the blindfold. Just look. And I sometimes do it when I'm dealing with difficult situations. I just kind of like withdraw myself and kind of like position myself as if even my situation is not my situation and somebody else is looking at it, to find this very kind of like dry answer. Ultimately, this also can talk about the choice between your head and your heart, about that. And I would say choose your head, something that makes sense, because it soars after all, right? And then we have Lorna H. We have Lorna H. Lorna, you have Knight of Cups. Flirty, flirty. And maybe you're going to be the flirty one, or maybe somebody else is going to be flirty, but it's going to be kind of like really spring in your step kind of a week. So that's kind of like interesting. So Lynn, I think I made you a mod, not in the stage, but I think later. So I'm going to do this now. Lynn, you're getting 7 of Wands. Don't let them gaslight you. Don't let them tell you something you know it's wrong. Just stay still. You might be attacked by cancel culture. You might be called certain names, but all they want is they want to be where you are. So they're trying to find some weakness or something. Just push this away and stay strong. Chris. Let's see, Mr. Chris. Ooh. Chris, you're getting 10 of Pentacles reversed. So family, right? So it is something that is odd or something that is off. It came reversed. So it's maybe like something that you really don't want to deal with, because when this comes reversed, sometimes people just put the face on and say no, everything is fine, because you just don't want to deal with the problem. So I don't know if this is kind of like a wife or ex-wife or child. It could be like also that they want money, or they want something from you, and you may be thinking it's too much, so you kind of like just say yeah, I'll talk about it later, that sort of thing. So it could be kind of like family dealing kind of like issues over here that I see. Missing anybody? Did I miss anybody? Just trying to go down. And Kyla, did I do you? I did. Guys, I don't see. I think I did everybody. If I didn't, please raise your hand so we can do that. And I guess that's why it is. Yeah, new moon in Pisces is today. It just like so came out for you, needing yogi. So we are doing the doors now, guys, and I'll do the doors with this new deck over here. So I'm just going to put a stamp before I shut it down. And oops, it's 32, not 22, so there's going to be a bloody mess on 32 on the thing. So oh, no problem, guys. So let's put this. Yes. All right, so think hard about your question. Think hard. Think hard. Okay, the answer number 1 is door number 1 is here. Here, and the door number 3 is here. Okay, let's remove this veil of this psychic card over here. I can even change this one and just see what we see over here. Now, the one on the left, the first one is Page of Wands. It can talk about positive attitude and kind of like, let's call it a magician-like attitude, that you can do anything. It's a huge exuberance. Page of Wands is a lots of doing things, so it requires doing lots of things and kind of investing lots of energy over here, right? So this is really important, kind of like to do it. Well, Joanna, it's really nice to see you. Like, live has a different energy, right, when you're in it versus when you're just listening. So that's what I say to people, but people, I guess, forget, or it's not a maybe good timing. So this is the yes, guys. Let's see. The page number 2 is Queen of Cups. It's all emotion. It's kind of like things need to make sense. This is also connecting to this new moon, so something might be coming right out of the gate, right as it is right now. It can be very, very emotional, processing on the inside. So it could be something about close relationships or your children or your pets. Very, very kind of like important here. And then, whoa, this is really interesting for the door number 3. You're getting 9 of Pentacles. I love it. Look at the joy in this woman's kind of like face. So what is really happening here, it's hard to say yes or no, It's possible to know if you are asking if you're going to get back in a kind of a relationship, because this card is really talking about the joy within yourself, joy getting in contact with the nature, and kind of like really recharging your batteries, right? And that is really important for a positive outcome. So it is really important to focus entire energies on yourself. So if your, for example, question was, let's say, work or something related to some things that you kind of like need to do, then it's a resounding and very, very positive yes. So there we go. And so we did the doors, we did the mods, we did the angel cards, we did the new deck. It's really, really kind of like stuff. So Barbie, I'm still going to send you the stuff, and we will see how this really works. If you can send me the links, I can post them, or if I don't hear from you, I'm just going to post them myself, and that way we can kind of like deal with this. So guys, I hope you kind of enjoyed your Caturday. Thank you so much for your donations. It's greatly appreciated. We are going in a cold week next week here in Toronto. They even said snow. They even said 20 centimeters of snow. That's like 2/3 of the foot. But then they changed their mind and they said it might kind of like have flurries, but it might not stay. So I just cannot splatter myself again. Like, it's just like too much. Last two years I was really injury prone. So anyway. Yes, maybe I can remove the mask and we can kind of like do it that way. So it's interesting, Kyle. I just wanted to make a pandemic kind of like a choice and go with that. Love you guys. I wish you all the best. Let's play some music. Let's do something different. And then I'll see you next Saturday for sure. Have a great week, guys. And I wish you all the best. Just make sure to come and check your reading again if in doubt why something is going great or not going great enough. Okay? Love you, love you, love you.